Today's episode of Why Music Matters is sponsored by Buffalo Spree magazine. From the start, Buffalo Spree has been a champion of Western New York's arts community, with every issue showcasing the best of Western New York. What's on stage, on view, in the clubs, and in the concert halls. Pick up the latest issue to get a closer look, or visit buffalospree.com.
And I told myself at 11 years old, man, if I can make money like this, what's going to happen when I'm 22?
Yeah.
What's going to happen when I'm 32? Now I'm 33, and it's like, it took 21 years to be in this room. And you're asking me questions on why it matters, you're looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is. Hey there, music lovers. Welcome to Why Music Matters, a podcast where we examine the power and influence that music can wield in our lives. I'm your host, Jeff Miers. Today we've got a special edition of the podcast featuring a roundtable discussion with three diversely talented musicians and music educators, who also happen to be movers and shakers in the Buffalo and Western New York music scene. Damone Jackson, Crittenden and David Cloyd are three very different people with varied musical outlooks and a broad spectrum of life experiences. But all three are bound by their deep belief that music elevates all of us, musicians and listeners alike. Recently, Crittenden and Cloyd, who are co-founders of the Buffalo Music Club Music Education Collective, teamed with the Sportsmen's Americana Music Foundation and the Borderland Festival to create the Borderland Band Camp. The camp offered an opportunity for young musicians in the area to create a set of music to be performed as part of this year's Borderland Festival, which takes place September 13th through 15th at Knox Farm State Park in East Aurora, New York. Jackson is one of 7 professional instructors who took part in the camp. Our conversation ran the gamut, from raw comedic asides to deep and intensely personal reflections on what it means to be a musician and why music matters more and more the deeper you dig into it. Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you this weekend at the Borderland Festival. Welcome, everybody, to a special and sure to be interesting episode of Why Music Matters. I've got some dear friends here today who we've got some specific stuff to talk about, but also these are 3 people who fit the description of what this podcast is supposed to be about to a T, because they've all got stories to tell on what music has meant to them in their lives. And more significantly for today's conversation, and how their own relationship with music is helping other people, mostly, students. So, Crittenden.
What's up?
Damone Jackson.
Go Bills.
Good to see you guys once
David
again.
Cloyd.
Hello, everyone.
If you're listening or watching this in Buffalo, you know who these guys are. If not, you're about to find out. But I asked them to be here together today because we all know each other a long time. We do gigs together, all kinds of stuff. But recently, we teamed with Borderland Festival, your Buffalo Music Club, and the Sportsmen's Americana Music Foundation to create this Borderland Band Camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought we should get together because I think it was a beautiful head trip for all of us. So why don't we start by talking about what happened, about what the goal was, and maybe what we learned already, even though we're in the middle of this. When this airs, it'll be just a day or two before Borderland.
Mm-hmm.
So our gig won't have happened yet, but you're closest, Eric. You start.
Well, it's always been my thing to get aspiring artists to a real stage for a real music experience. And this is not to take anything whatsoever away from your typical recital-based sort of musical education. But I know for me, all the touring I did in another life ago, that's where I learned how to play.
Yeah.
I could always play saxophone, but just because you could play doesn't mean you can play.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can hang. You know what I mean? So for me, that was just a very innate way of sort of mentoring people. It wasn't even a conscious thought. I didn't even really think of it that way. It was just like, okay, I got this gig. I'm putting you on a stage.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Can you hang or can't you? You know what I'm saying? And it was a subconscious thing, a subliminal thing. So, as David and I put together this Buffalo Music Club concept during the pandemic, the way we've been sort of running it as of late is like we get these really like intense moments of inspiration, and we had a meeting at my house for like a quarterly meeting that we do for Buffalo Music Club, and I was like, I got an idea. And he's like, what is it?
Just everybody run.
And everybody's like running for cover.
Like,
everybody's running for cover.
I flip a coin and that determines how I feel.
I'm like, I got an idea.
No.
He's like, what's that? And I'm like, I want to do a band camp, and I want the kids to play Borderland. And he's like, isn't Borderland in like in 8 months or something?
Yeah, whenever.
And I was like, yeah, I'm calling Jen when you walk out the door. And she's like, yeah, I'm down. So here we are. You know what I mean? Like, there's way more to the story, but like, you have a vision, you build it, they will come. As cliche as that is, that's what it's all about. And the thing is that the kids that participated in the band camp are exactly the kids, frankly, like your son, like Blaze, like the kids that, like Damone. I met Damone when he was a kid. I mean, he was in college. He was a man, but like a kid, Yep. There are some people that have this power and this prowess that's third eye driving their universal given talent, and they have no idea what to do with it. They do, but they don't.
Yeah.
And it takes people like you, David, Damone, myself, and those of us like us, the Americana Music Foundation, for giving us that outlet to say, okay, you can play Fleur de Lis for your aunt, and your neighbor and your sister. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know as well as I do, those kids in that camp, they're not trying to play for their aunt and their neighbor.
No, they're not.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Cole, the young brother there, Cole, what's his last name? Tucker? No, Cole from
I don't know none of
Stringworks.
Cole Resnick.
Cole Resnick.
Yeah.
Cole Resnick. Damone asked him.
What is he, a
asked
sixth
him,
grader?
how old are you? Almost 11. Was like one of the banging his bass players up there. He's this big. The bass was twice as big as he was.
Yeah.
So this is why this camp exists, for cats that need to get that energy to put their art out there in that way, especially at that age. That's where it starts. So, and here we are. This is why it exists. This is why it's going to grow. And thank you to Jen Brazil and everybody else for saying yes.
Yeah.
Because when something's real and authentic, yes is a given.
Yeah.
She didn't even hesitate.
No, she doesn't. Well,
she did not even hesitate.
Immensely people.
That was a really fun meeting.
Yeah.
They aren't all like that.
No, they're not.
No.
But she gets it.
Yeah.
And so yeah. Anyways, I don't know.
Damone, as one of the instructors for this camp, by the way, I should say that we were all instructors there. Right? We were all there
Absolutely
throughout this pretty intensive 15 hours or so working with these kids. What was your take, man? Because I there was a moment when I'm like, okay. I mean, and that moment came quickly, didn't it? Where it was like, all right, are we going to have to be like, put your finger here if you're trying, it's a G chord, you know, or is there going to be stuff here for us to work with and help with? And I felt like we found out pretty quick, like, okay, these kids can play.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think? Maybe were you surprised, or you know?
Once the first minute of music that was played between each kid, I was like, oh, our job is easy.
Yeah.
You know, that was not that it mattered if it was easy or hard or not, but when you see, you know, you created a musical genius, so you already know. But when you first saw Declan play for the first time, oh, it's cute. And then he became a certain age, probably wasn't even in double digits yet.
No. And
he was playing, and you were like, damn, this, you know, why is he playing the bass like that? Why is he playing the guitar like that? He sounds pretty good. Like he's, you know, you can play a G chord, but it's a way how you play that G chord. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And all these kids were like that, okay? One of my drum students, you know, first thing I see in a drummer, if I'm hearing them for the first time, not how do they play the drums, but how do they sound? Mm-hmm. You know, because you know, all of us can play a drum set. We can all play some type of groove, but it's about how that groove sounds.
Yeah.
That first rim shot that I heard him play, that was within 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Pow!
Yeah. Made you jump. I remember that.
Because usually, you know, a little kid will hit the center of the drum and you think he's playing drums. I'm like, yeah, you playing drums, but there's a way and a sound that drum does that you don't know about. So let me teach. And when he hit that rim shot, I'm like, okay, so he knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all, like, I felt it. We all in the room went from being a little bit like feeling the chains to like, oh, we're all a little bit weightless.
Mm-hmm. And I told him,
this is fun, and it's not gonna be at all a drag. It's gonna be a joyous thing.
Yeah. So that right there, just the sound.
Yeah.
They didn't sound like they were kids. Yeah, we fine-tuned what they already know, but they didn't sound like kids. They did not. My drummer, I forgot his name. James. I knew it started with a J. James. I was gonna call him James.
He's an old man. I had to remind how many times do you have to remind yourself that
this is 14?
13, 14.
No, I thought it was 15.
15. Yeah. So he's a teenager. But he played better than I did at 15 than I did at 11 because his sound was there.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, not to throw race into it, but this was a little white kid.
Yeah, right.
Hitting a snare drum with some power behind it. I'm like, what type of drummer are you, man? So seeing that, and it was every kid. It was every kid.
Every kid had like that. Yeah.
We talked about that a lot because we were wondering how it was going to go. And then when it really kicked in how it was going to go, we all kind of said, well, of course, like none of these kids have to be here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is this camp. The very description of it is like, if you can hang, come do this. And if you want to do this, you're going to have fun. So they all wanted to be there. Yeah. And they all, whatever level they were at, they just were there to enjoy it and play and learn. And that's the hardest part with any kind of education, much less music. Is finding, like, keeping them weightless and just really engaged. And we didn't have to do anything really to keep that going for the whole camp.
You know what's crazy to me was that time when we gave them a break, and they're sitting down together, and you know, none of them knew each other before this, and they're sitting down. I'm like, well, look at this. They're forming a band, which means in a way, like, you find your tribe, you find people. And the way that you go to that area of mutual respect, it's like seeing the best parts of democracy in action. Like, and these young people had that. Do you remember this when they were sitting there? And and at the end they came out. This is what we want our set list to be.
And I take it a step further too. There were a couple observations that I noticed about that. In particular, these kids, just generally speaking, are the kids. And I consider myself one of these kids too. Music or anyways is of any medium, form, or shape is an ageless energy.
Yeah.
Right. Whether you're 6 or 96, it's just a flow that keeps happening. And I believe that to be true. And as such, if you noticed during that time, a lot of those breaks, those kids have to play.
Yeah.
It's who they are. It's their DNA.
Yeah.
It's a genome. It is their purpose. They don't even know. Like some of them, they're teenagers, right? So like talking to teenagers too is just like you don't know what they're, they're just talking to teenagers. But there's so much music running through their bodies and their entire being that they don't even know really what to even talk about.
Yeah.
They just need to play. It's everything of who they are. So we fostered and nurtured that ability for them, right? Because the world, especially in America, it's not built to support that. Right. I think in Europe, have never been there, but I think from what I hear about Europe and stuff like that, it's a little different out there, right? Yeah. They like support
totally
art
different.
Like,
I've been there. They totally different.
They support it, right?
Yeah.
They got like they subsidize shows, about ticket sales and all this stuff.
Celebrated.
And the other thing that I just want to say very briefly is very public props to Damone in particular for saying like, this playing is easy, right? That's the easy part. All y'all could play, right? But this is your life. Your life forms here. Sit at the table, speak with each other, learn how to talk with each other, learn how to advocate for yourself, right? You know what I mean? This is your life. I want everybody to exchange phone numbers. This is your band. You never know what's going to shake out after this. This is how you move forward. And see, this is what the traditional solfege, what is it, do, re, mi? I don't know, I feel like a fucking jerk every time I do that. Solfege, who gives a fuck about that? But I'm saying like, do you know what I mean? Who gives a fuck about that? But like, I guess it's important. It's important, but whatever. But it's like, if you want the fucking Muppets, go to Sesame.
But you can't teach this other thing. You can only guide.
That's what I mean. So it's like, it's the whole thing. So, I so appreciate all the times over the course of the camp that you broke it down in such a real, authentic, and charismatic way.
Well, because it's and going back to your question too, and piggybacking off what you just said, I preached in that camp. Yeah, this is fun. You're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to have a good time with this. But if these kids are 11, 12, 14. 15, 16, one is 19, so he's getting ready to become a man in 2 years, officially. So, okay, if you want to do this musically, how are you going to survive? If you can play your instrument already, you did the hard part already, was playing on stage, you're playing your instrument, you're going on stage, okay. But now, because after this concert, people are going to be blown away, and they're going to want somebody in that crowd is going to either being so intrigued by what they hear and see that they might call the kid from Congo. They might call James, the drummer, at 14 years old. I was playing, you can't play in bars at 14 or 15 years old. That it is possible.
Oh yeah,
you can do it. Absolutely. You can do it. So now, what do you do with that first paycheck? What do you do with that first $100? What do you do with it? Because when it happens again, you figure out for the first time, I can make a living at doing this. Okay, now you need to know how to keep that money, how to save that money, what to do when you get a 1099 for the first time. Survival. Because you can make a living by doing this. I do it. And I take pride in it because now, the way our society is now, today, everything is handed on a silver platter. Everything is accessible now. Okay, and nobody's giving anybody tough love because tough love today is not accepted as it used to be. Tough love today now is, you're talking about me, you're downing me. No. This is hard. This is a hard business. It's a hard life. So how do you do? What do you do? How do you survive? What do you do to survive? Because playing is not It's only a fraction of what you need to be doing to put food on your table.
That's right.
How are you off that stage?
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't perfect either.
Who is?
But how are you
100%.
off
Yeah.
that stage? How are you taking
pretty
care
close.
of people?
Oh, yeah,
How
pretty close.
are you
David's perfect.
Are you
The rest of us are
speaking?
mortals.
Are you saying thank yous to the people that come to your show? Are you pouring back into your music community? This is the survival game that nobody really talks about as teaching people how to play an instrument and go on a stage more times than none.
Yeah.
It's a very important thing. Survival is a very important thing. And I don't care who you are. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't make a living playing music. I'm going to tell you that that's wrong.
Right.
That's wrong. Because you wouldn't tell Picasso not to paint a picture.
Well, they did, didn't they?
Well,
Well,
they
everybody's
did,
told
but
it-
what I'm saying though is
But
Everybody's
right.
told everybody to stop doing what they're
yeah,
doing.
don't
Exactly.
do it.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
don't do it. You're not gonna make anything.
Yeah.
You're not gonna make it. I just
You need a
left.
plan B.
Yes.
You need a plan B.
Yeah. What's your real job gonna be? This
Yeah.
can be the real job, but you gotta want
Oh,
it.
I got all that.
You gotta want it, and you gotta have that
It's true.
confidence. And then when you pass that, then you gotta keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Declan said to me once on the point you're making. I don't remember what I asked him, and I don't even think it was me that asked him, but I was there. How do you do this, and how do you get to a place where you're doing well in the business and at a young age or whatever? And he said, "Well, you do all the hard work. You got to do all the hard work. Then you got to be incredibly lucky. But on top of that, probably the most important thing is, can you hang?
Yeah.
That's it.
What are you like? Like, what kind of human are you presenting to the people who may or may not want you to be in their band or involved in that project?"
And they don't care nothing about your playing ability. They care nothing about it. That's only a little bit of a
That
sliver.
opens the
That
door.
opens
Yeah,
the door.
that's-
That door
that's-
shuts again,
That's
though.
a baseline requirement. Like if you can play, then yeah. Like
That's what I think he was
considered.
trying to say. That then you got to be super lucky to be in the room anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's that thing. And I thought during the camp that came up a lot in stuff everybody was saying to the
It's
to the
very true.
students. I don't
Yeah.
like calling them kids.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
what I mean?
They are underage, so
Yeah.
no, they're little grown-ups.
Oh,
And
they're
they're
grown-ups,
and
yeah.
but they're artists. They're burgeoning artists. Every single one of them.
Agreed.
Like they all have that look in their eyes, on their face that we have in our best moments, which is just kind of okay. I'm in it. You just get in it,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to stay there as long as you can. And if you have that ever, then you have it forever.
Yeah.
That's my feeling about anyone I know that's an artist. It's like a scar. It's there and you can't remove it. You can't change that aspect of you. I don't think you can. I can't let it go.
Yeah.
No.
I've tried.
Yeah.
No,
A couple of times I've tried. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if
Everybody
I
in
can
this
keep
room is
doing
a
it.
lifer. There's no discussion
Yeah,
there.
you can't
Well,
get you can get out of it.
Yeah. It's who it's who you are. It's like you're.
Yeah.
I mean, if you, back in the days of the hunters and gatherers, I mean, like your place in the tribe as the muse is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
You're born in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't. I was just having a conversation with one of my students. I'm a high school teacher here in the city, and like, he's like, I got pre-calc at this time. And I just said to him, I was like, bro, you're never going to need that shit. Who the fuck needs pre-calculus when you're going to Wegmans to buy fucking lettuce?
Yeah.
Who needs that? Nobody.
I have some equations.
Like,
I'll text them to you. There ain't no. If you just use them,
The probability.
save you 20% easy
You know what I mean?
a week.
I mean, some cats need to learn how to fly planes, but the bulk of us, you know what I mean?
It
So
depends what
it's-
you're doing. Yeah.
This is what I
Somebody's up
mean.
there.
So like the bulk of us is like, let's foster, and so let that's why this camp exists. This is why Buffalo Music Club exists. This is why I exist.
Yeah.
There's yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Let's say the goal of this was, on paper at least, the goal of this particular camp was to get these young musicians together, prep them to play a set at festival, where there's going to be a lot of people.
Literally was the goal. Yeah.
Yeah. So why does that matter? Why does that matter beyond that gig?
Oh, there's so many good questions. The answers to that question. So Eric and I are talking about all kinds of ideas like this all the time. And we've thought about, I mean, this is literally probably the third year we've tried to do some kind of summer band camp. Like as soon as the pandemic was over, we were like, we could do it this year. Oh wait, it's too soon. It's too soon. It's too hard. We'll wait next year. And then it's like every year we would get to March and we would have this conversation. It's like, it's too late. It's too late. We should have had this plan in like December and then we could really do it. But this year we were just like, no, let's just go for it.
You're in the same boat, but
right.
we all said, let's do it anyway.
Yeah, we're just going to do it. Yeah, this year, this was the year we said we're going to do it anyway. And so, like for us, there's never, we don't have a single one and done goal at the club. Everything that we do is like, well, like we take an idea that we can iterate on, something that we can do a bunch of different versions of. Because this idea, it's very singular. There's a particular kind of musician that's going to want to play in this particular kind of thing. And the fun thing for me, honestly, is that I'm not a funk or soul musician. Like you don't want me in that band, but I get to play saxophone again. And I show up and do that because I did that a lot when I was younger and I can do that, but you don't want me to play bass or guitar.
I'm just going to interrupt for a second. You're a tremendously funky motherfucker, dude. And you strapped on that Barry saxophone and like
killed me. I fell over.
I wasn't fishing for compliments.
But I'm giving you one because you were smacking. So chill with the humility.
Well, it's fun.
For a second.
I never play anymore, so I'm excited to get into it.
I'm about to call you Fela Cloyd. Anyways,
all I'm trying to say is like we have. This is one idea. This is one idea of like literally hundreds that we could do.
Oh, I agree.
And every single thing, like every single thing that we do at the camp, it's really anchored in one truth, and that is established music education programs are broken. Yeah. They're fundamentally broken. Okay, every single one of them. As soon as it's institutionalized, it's about the institution. It's not about the artists. Right. Okay. So that's why our tagline at the club is support the artists of today and create the artists of tomorrow. There's no such thing as the arts. It doesn't exist. It's all the artists. There's no art without artists. Right. So if we don't have people making art, we don't have art. And I don't know, like there's a part of me that would probably be okay with the fact that say 50 years from now, maybe no one's made music, but at least I still have my Beatles records to listen to. Yeah. There's a part of me that would still be fine with that, but not really.
No, not because really. If as soon as you stop evolving, you start doing the other thing.
It's the very basis of AI. Okay, the very basis of the idea of AI is that we'll have this machine read everything that exists right now, and then we could just play around with that. And it's just like that's not the same thing as what people do. Everything's a folk art. Every kind of art is folk, right? So you are collecting things and then mixing them with your life experience, and you're making something that means something to you. Yeah. That's a completely different process than just a machine blending everything up and spitting something out that kind of looks like something.
Agreed.
It's not the same.
Agreed.
So I personally am one of two things. I'm either an indie rock recording artist trapped in the body of a classical musician, or I'm a classical musician trapped in the body of an indie rock artist. I don't know anymore. But my experience as an artist in my life has been that I have learned a lot about music from established music education programs, but none of them taught me how to be an artist.
Right.
None of them. Okay. And
that's it.
The absolute same is true for the classical musicians that I came up with through junior high and high school, even before that, and college. Yeah. Music school students who left music school thinking they'd just go play in an orchestra.
Yeah, there aren't that many jobs.
No. And even if you can get that job, you're climbing over how many dead bodies to
Come
get
on,
that
man.
job?
He's preaching.
And then there are all these old orchestra players who don't even want to be in there anymore, but they'll kill you before they give up their seat.
Right.
Okay, because what else are they going to
This is
do?
all
Yeah.
But it's really just beyond that to me. It's we became artists so we could do something different. And if you approach being an artist just like every other job in the world, then it's broken. Okay? But fundamentally to me, there was no level of education that I got through music school. I have a music degree that taught me how to be a professional artist in the real world.
Right.
I learned how to play all the repertoire. I learned how to do this and this and this. I learned even how to like get along with my peers and all of that. But I did not learn how do I go out and hustle? How do I go and make a living?
Yeah.
How do I go out and find my path, carve my path? Okay. And newsflash to every artist in the world, anyone who's doing this already knows what I'm about to say. But no matter how old you are, no matter how long you've been doing it, it always changes
Right.
and it's always hard. So we all need help all the time. We all need support all the time. And we started this because we both agreed we need each other. If we want to make things better in Buffalo for musicians, I need him and he needs me. And then I know you were like the first artist we signed up. I remember us hanging on a Zoom for a while because it's the pandemic. And I'm like, I love Damone Jackson. And since that day, he shows up for himself. He shows up for the club. He shows up for the kids. He shows up for any student that reaches out to him to take a lesson. I mean, he embodies everything that we are trying to be.
Yep.
And it gives
all
us...
of our teachers did that.
Yes, and all of our teachers did that.
It's a very natural disposition. It's not contrived in the least. Jacob, Alex, Jeff, Jay, the Americana Music Foundation. I mean,
This is also because, this is another tenet of ours, like, we're not asking him to teach something that he doesn't want to teach. He's not interested in teaching, that he's not good at teaching.
Right.
This is about each one of us being ourselves and sharing ourselves and helping other people who have a little bit of you in them, just that spark of like, no one's going to be Damone.
Yeah.
But if you study with Damone, you're taking some of that away with you.
Well, this is
whatever you do.
Today's episode of Why Music Matters is sponsored by Buffalo Spree magazine. From the start, Buffalo Spree has been a champion of Western New York's arts community, with every issue showcasing the best of Western New York. What's on stage, on view, in the clubs, and in the concert halls. Pick up the latest issue to get a closer look, or visit buffalospree.com. That's an amazing answer, and the question I was trying to ask was different than that, but I'm glad we went there. My question is broader and maybe more ridiculous and philosophical.
Love it.
But I want to hear what you guys have to say. So we get the kids ready. We get a great set. We play at Borderland. They do well. Why does it matter? Why is it important to us? And why do we believe that it's important to the culture that there be more musicians?
Because that's our future. That's, and not to throw age, but these guys are older than me. So like in a way, I'm still underneath you guys.
I'm still crushing it, baby.
But you're and you're
not that much younger than us.
But what I'm saying though is
he is.
But what I'm saying though, I mean, it's a 20-year gap. And y'all
15. Calm down.
We gonna say 20.
Take it easy.
But it looks more like 12.
You rounding up back to my math
like
analogy?
12.
Is that what you're doing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you're just gonna have to take it.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
You did need calculus.
but what I'm saying though is, I'm younger than these folks. And yeah, we laugh and joke at the number.
Yeah, that's all.
But if you guys are calling me to be a part of what you already cultivated through years of playing and experience and road life and all that, and you're calling me to make you sound better or feel better or enhance, not trying to toot my own horn, but enhance your shows, then I did something right.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to do it the hard way and my way. I didn't do it because somebody told me to do it. I had to do it because I wanted to do it. And what these kids are doing, like we talked about, nobody forced these kids to come.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
None of these kids were forced to show up to this camp. So now, when I see these kids doing what they're doing, you know, during this camp, I saw myself at 11 years old as if I was that kid again.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that.
I didn't either.
I didn't have that.
Yep, that's why we do it.
So I put myself in their shoes and was like, damn, if I would love to be 11 years old again and do this. Because now, after that performance, and that's over with, that's life changing. I got my first paying gig at 11 years old out of a church. And when I got that $50, the flea market and Ames store was open at that time. $50 back in the 90s, you can
buy a house.
You can get
money left over for an ice cream sandwich.
See, Game Boy Pocket was my joint.
There we go.
Okay, Game Boy Pocket was the game. It was the handheld game of the century. $50 with you get 10 video games with that $50.
That's right.
And I told myself at 11 years old, man, if I can make money like this, what's gonna happen when I'm 22?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen when I'm 32? Now I'm 33, and it's like it took 21 years to be in this room, and you're asking me questions on why it matters. You're looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's what's gonna happen.
That's it right there.
That's what's going to happen with these kids. I guarantee that these kids, or half of these kids, okay, it was 9 kids, it was 11 kids. I guarantee 5 of those kids will be sitting in a room like this or getting interviewed and asked these same questions on why it matters. And they're going to talk about this camp.
Without question.
Yeah.
Listen, let me just tell you this. Like, Zeki,
that's it.
One of the keyboardists.
Yes. He was excellent.
So he went on a jazz trip. He went on a trip with his folks. I think it was City Honors or something, but like through them, right? And he was hanging out in jazz clubs in Italy, right?
Yep.
And you could just tell he comes back, right? Because like one of the things that I used to run into back when I was like trying to do the original jazz thing was that people are so like committed to take the A train.
Yeah.
Right? Let's play the A train.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You ever been on the F train before?
It's not as good a song.
Like, I mean, like
it's a great song.
You know, the worst thing that ever happened to jazz was the fact that it was called jazz.
Yeah.
Right? They limited it, put limitations on it. So, you know, to answer the question, why does it matter? Is because culture without art is TikTok.
Yeah.
Look at us now. Look at our society now. It's fucking surreal. It's surreality TV, man. Yeah. It's nonsense. It's Kim Kardashian. It's people with fake bodies. And it's people with political aspirations who are bad human beings.
Bad actors.
Are bad actors. So any type of culture without art we're seeing it unfold in real time.
Yes.
But what I saw with people like Zeki is a kid whose entire soul was just like sort of laid out in front of him. Like you could tell his path is with that piano.
Yeah.
Period. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. Am I lying?
No.
You just look at his face.
That was so
He
apparent.
was constantly playing.
Yep.
He couldn't not play. We're going to take a break now. All right. Got a piece of pizza hanging out his mouth.
You sit back down and play.
Yeah.
And
he's
kill
playing.
him.
Do you see what I'm saying? Every student was like that, right?
Yeah.
Alex comes to mind, you know? They have their French horn, Nah, put it down. Pick up another something else. Nope, put it down. Pick up a cowbell. They just gotta play.
Yeah.
That is the precipice of culture. That is what moves. That's what moves culture forward.
Yeah.
That's what has always, to your point, that's what has always moved culture forward is the art. Why does it matter? It's because culture without art is TikTok and bullshit. That's why. And as human beings, that's just not acceptable.
I'm with you.
I think
Beautiful answers.
every single one of us, you know, we all have our history with our music education.
Mm-hmm.
When we started, that teacher versus that teacher, that experience versus that experience. And to me, like, I don't spend any more time in my life on regret or
Correct.
trying to make up for something. I just keep going. But there is healing in what we do. There is healing for our younger selves. When you show up and you're doing this thing and you're giving this 11-year-old an opportunity to do something that you're like, I wish I could have done that when I was 11. There's healing in that.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not just a personal healing, because every single one of us here, like, we're 4 artists. We're all completely different people, completely different paths, completely different output. Okay. And your career and your career and your career, my career do not look alike at all. And I couldn't do what you do, and you couldn't do what I do. We're just not, that's the way of artists is there is no way.
Right.
So to me,
but you can't find one.
You can,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
well, that's the point is to collectivize and you share your experiences. But this is the deeper thing to me is, you know, this whole idea of don't ask forgiveness, not permission. You know, kids, especially kids, but I don't know that grown-ups are any different. We still need permission times to do things. Like, the best thing about the club, because the club is just an idea. It's just a name that Eric and I put to a bigger idea than ourselves. Okay. And the club gives us permission at any time to come up with some crazy idea that we're going to have a bunch of kids play at the Borderland Festival. And then we just make it happen. Like, Eric doesn't do that. And I don't do that. The club does.
Right.
Okay. So our whole approach to music education is with that in mind. We're not just giving permission to artists and, you know, existing artists, established artists and aspiring artists to do what they want to do. We're creating opportunities for them to do it.
Yeah.
So that they understand that this is how it works. You have to make something happen. Nobody is ever going to open a door to you and say, hey, here's a studio. It belongs to you now. Make as many records as you want. Take your time. That's never going to happen for anyone. But if we take the time, we collectivize and we say, you know what, if we put our heads together and we commit to this, then we push it out there into the world, it gives, and I mean, I don't mean this at all cynically, it gives all of us artists a chance to make a little money, sharing the wealth of knowledge and experience that we have, and it gives all these burgeoning artists an opportunity to learn and be the thing that they want to be. Because like we said already, none of them didn't want to be there. They were all there because there's something in them that wants to be an artist.
Needs to be.
Needs to be, yes.
They need it.
Yes, like,
it's like,
if I gave you $1 billion and said, you just can't play drums anymore, you would never take that money.
it would. But even if he did, though, and you
He'd
too,
just
and
sneak
Jeff
out
and
and
myself,
play him on the.
you can't not.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying
A dog
too.
can't not be a dog.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
So really,
like, a plant can't not be a plant. That's what we're talking about here.
I mean,
but American society, in particular, American society has not supported that, has not nurtured that in the least. I mean, I'm a public music school educator. Nobody plays. There's no bands anymore.
Yeah.
You got to go to the suburbs for that. And even now, you got to meet before school.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different thing. And then, you know, I made that sort of joke or, you know, whatever about TikTok, but literally like this is what so many of our future is being inspired by. So there needs to be more opportunities for the kids of our camp because it's only going to grow exponentially.
Yeah.
From there, because there's tons of kids, like our kids from the
Borderland Band
from
Camp.
the Borderland Band Camp. There's tons of kids just like that all around.
Yeah. They're in all different kinds of things.
In all different kinds of things.
Yeah.
And they need to be seen.
Yeah.
They need to be heard. And they need to be supported. Damone was, you know.
Yeah.
My guy, I'll just be brief. My guy was speaking of the Americana Music Foundation. My guy, of course, the side of my father, right? My father who played with everybody and their brothers. He just threw me on stage, right? He didn't care nothing about no scales. He didn't care none of that. He did not give a flying fuck about a single scale at all. He was like, can you play a Sam and Dave line or not? And I was like 10 years old. I was like, who's Sam and Dave? And he would just be like, well, when you figure it out, then come and talk to me. Right? Seriously, I was playing like an aria and fugue. And he was like, what the fuck is that? I was like, it's an aria, whatever. And he was like, we don't play that shit in this house. Sam and Dave, right? So that's how it was. But anyways, my music, I go on about him. But like Dr. Baudo, Joseph Baudo does the big band on, I think, Wednesdays or something at Sportsmen Tavern.
Yeah.
He was that cat for me. He was that cat for me that was like, he would just come in with no fucks whatsoever. And he ran the jazz band. He was the music chair at Sweet Home. And I can just remember, man, we'd be in there playing. We playing Rush. We playing Sambas. We cooking. But and then he stopped the band and he'd be like, let's play My Funny Valentine. And we start playing. And he'd walk around and look around. He'd be like, what the fuck is that? Right? And we'd all be like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And he was like, man, if you can't play ballads, you can't play. Yeah. And then he'd walk out the room.
Oh yeah.
And you need to be told. But seriously though,
like, that
part of the support though, and this is why, again, music matters, yes, of course, but this is why this particular thing matters, because those kids, they've never been on a stage before like that. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the first time outside of school that they're going to be in front of an audience like that. And some of those audience members will think it's cute. And, oh, look, these little kids are playing. Some of them are going to be like, hey, man, I played and you need to do better. And
yeah.
Sometimes that support is tough love.
Oh, that's the best.
Telling them, hey, look, man.
That's the best support,
that's
bro.
The best support.
Hey, you're playing a little bit too fast, or check your tuning before you play.
Yeah.
And they tell them like they're not nice about it.
Yeah.
But it's not. We don't care. Delivery does not matter about, or it doesn't care about your feelings. Delivery does not care about your feelings. We want you to be better, so we're going to tell you like it is to get better. Yeah. If we didn't care, we wouldn't tell you anything.
Right.
Wouldn't tell you anything.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
if they don't tell you anything, they don't give a fuck. About you.
Sometimes you're going to find yourself in professional positions, in situations where you have to set yourself aside because the money is what matters in that moment, and money doesn't have time. So if you're a session player, you're there, you're doing exactly what the money needs, or you're out. Okay. And those are the hard lessons. Those are the hard lessons. And, for me, I was never that kind of a musician anyway. I feel like every single one of us has 1,000 situations we've run into professionally where it's like, this is new. But at a certain point, you see all the commonalities between all the different things that are happening to you. And those inform you and they shape you. And you either grow into them or you're sunk. You're sunk. So they have to learn how to be. We have this first. This is a little promo. We have this first. They're having a dress rehearsal concert at the cave
Well,
on Wednesday.
by the time this airs,
Yeah,
that will
on
have
Wednesday
happened.
on Wednesday the 11th. So we're gonna get them on stage, so we can read them whatever little quiet riot acts we need to do before the actual
And the
Borderland
jitters.
Festival.
Get the
jitters
that
out.
initial
Yeah.
jitters.
Yeah, which was
man.
all part of the plan too.
Yeah.
Like we weren't gonna like have them 3 days in a camp and then throw them at Borderland.
Mhm.
We're giving them one stint in the kiddie pool, and then we're throwing them in the big pool off the high dive.
in the deep end.
Yeah, in the deep end off the high dive.
Right.
So, I think they're excited. They should be a little nervous. That's what it's good for you.
No, it is.
I think it's good for you.
You know, all of our lives are different, how we all get here. Part of my impetus to want to do things like this, and certainly in the way that, I tried to raise my own child when I realized that it was in him, just like it's in me and, all of us, comes from the fact that I didn't have any of those opportunities. I went to a Christian military high school in the city of Albany that didn't even have a music program. And where I was like, talk about wanting to be seen. I didn't, there was nowhere to put it. I didn't have the support at home, so I just think it's such a beautiful thing. People have opportunities, they need them. And I know what it feels like if you're like, that's so in you and there's no one there to guide you. No one there to say, it's all right. That
It's
you're,
okay to
that
do
you're,
that.
It's
Yeah,
all right
it's okay.
that you're this. And you can't help it because you can't. At 11, I knew it was over. I could hardly play, but I'm like, this is
Yeah,
it.
man.
It ain't never going away. So, part of me is like, oh, you should spend your life trying to do what you can to give, to maybe create some other opportunities for people, because I know how much it means,
That's like that to me is like our own selfish purpose for doing the camp is now that we've done this and we've seen like, we can do this. It's why we partnered with Sportsmen. It's why we partnered with Borderland. Like, this isn't just a one-off. This isn't just a soul funk hip hop idea. To me, like, one of my personal dreams, because of my history, is I say we're gonna find our ways to infiltrate, just established classical music. Those people should be playing in front of real audiences and not just their grandmothers and their, and again, nothing against grandma.
No.
It's just
Grandma gets a bad rap. Man.
It's not. Yeah, grandma's great. She's better when she's in the audience at Kleinhans, amongst a bunch of other people that you don't know. Like my favorite audiences are the ones when you look out and you don't recognize anybody.
Not a single
That's
person.
the best.
Yeah.
That's the best place you can be as
And
a
can
musician.
you create memories for them?
Yes.
And do you know what I mean?
And can you
leave
stay
Yeah.
present in yourself
in yourself
and
to do
play
that?
your
Yeah.
and make your art in that moment? That's the challenge.
Which when you're 24 is much easier to do than when you're, because things happen. You some people go on to get married and have families and all those kinds of things, and then all those realities kind of set in. So now, playing for $50 for 4 sets at some ramshackle tavern somewhere does not make a lot of sense for the grand scheme of things. So now you have to really, really put your best foot forward to figure out, okay, because you do this, I did it for a very long time. How do you take this to the next level?
Mhm.
How do you nurture yourself emotionally? How do you nurture yourself emotionally so that you can stick to your guns and manifest what you've been put here to do?
Amen.
Because let's
That's
be
what's
honest. Like, not saying anything wrong. I'm not saying anything's wrong with this, but you can only play Some Kind of Wonderful so many fucking times. Do you know what I mean? You can only do Sex Machine so many times. It's like or September. And I love that song.
Oh God,
But
forever.
it's not always going to be the fucking 21st of September.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean?
Once
So,
a year.
It's once a year. So it really takes a very strong, grounded, rooted person to go after their vision You know what I mean?
You have to throw yourself in the fire, though.
Definitely.
Yes.
And be okay with what
over
happens.
and over.
Yes.
Over
And
and
keep
over.
jumping back in.
And silently, that teaches you a lot about life.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is
That's
life.
the point. That's part
It's
of
the
what.
music life.
It's the
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
life. But see,
Yeah,
the
this is
outsiders,
It's life, period.
that's life to us because we live it.
Mm-hmm.
An outsider would say, okay, when you going to get a real job?
Yep.
And I'm telling you that this is my job. I've faced more rejection than I've ever faced from girls, from women.
Mhm.
I've got more rejection in music than I have from women.
You've been rejected by women?
Yes.
I don't
Really?
believe you.
Plenty of
I don't
times.
believe that for a second.
But it's been more.
I think you should take your
wouldn't-
shirt off right now.
I wouldn't say no.
I have a dad bod. I don't got a pat.
Well, that's a. I mean, you're
I got
sitting by.
nothing. I ain't Rob Bonner either. I ain't Rob Bonner. Shout out to him, brother.
Join our dad
No,
club. You're in.
right.
You're in.
I'm definitely not taking my shirt
but,
off. So
but-
I don't know which camera A, B, or C is getting this, but I'm definitely not taking.
I'm
my
putting your shirt on over
shirt. No,
this.
you
But
were
what
saying.
I'm saying
Here you
is, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm done. I'm done. I gotta
I'm
work
not.
tonight.
I gave
You
you.
can take
Okay.
mine.
I gave it to him.
All right. Good.
But what I'm saying though is, that rejection and that tough love, that hard life of being told no. Nobody likes to be told no. Nobody likes that.
Right.
There's
Not meant to
more.
be.
There's more of no's than there are yeses in music, and then it's like when you are in the real world, okay, and you want to buy a house and they tell you no.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
You go try again.
try.
Yeah.
It's just as that simple. But our problem is, as people and musicians, that we can't get out of our own way sometimes because we don't have the
Facts.
confidence to do it.
Mhm.
So
Or the support.
or the support.
Mhm.
So okay, well, make your own comfort, make your own support. If nobody's gonna pat you on your back, then you pat your own self on
Right.
your
Find
back.
out. You find
That's
out.
it.
And you do it yourself because you're handed nothing, and the world owes you nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It owes you nothing in this world. It owes you no explanation. So why can't we take that same perspective and put it in music and vice versa into our real life, our personal life? I'll just say that.
Well,
Our personal life. It can be done.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in that. It can be done. I had, problems with my family too, telling me, okay, we know you play drums.
Mhm.
That's not gonna put food on your table. Oh, it's not? It's not?
Hold my
Okay.
beer.
All right.
Yeah.
And then the same person who said that, pardon my French, was sucking my dick. He said he was sorry for saying that.
Yeah.
Didn't believe a lick that I can really do this. Because again, I understand why he said that, because there's no security in this.
Sure.
There's no pension in this. There's no retirement.
that's
There's
the
no
tr-
there's no
that's all
sick
fucking
days.
smoke and
Truth of
mirrors
it
anyways.
is,
Yeah.
the truth of
It's
it
all
is,
smoke and mirrors, man.
but that's the truth of it is, there's no security in anything.
Thank you.
Like to me, I've met plenty of artists who are just as asleep as people who are asleep that are not artists.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is all, there's something really important here too, which is as a community of artists and sharing this with the kids that want to be artists, even non-kids. Like we have students that are grown-ups that are just, they're just like, I just really, I have some vocal students who are grown up and they just want to sing.
Mhm.
They just really enjoy it. But being able to share with each other as an artist community, and then also open up with the kids, the fears,
Yeah, man.
the failures,
That's important.
to understand that, like, whatever you see with your eyes on social media or YouTube or whatever, none of that's easy. None of that's easy. And like one of my favorite little stories that I heard in the last several years, I think it was Lil Jon. I think it was. I don't follow Lil Jon's music, but there was a whole story about how he posted a picture on social media of a private jet, like heading to my next show, and then the same day someone posted a picture of him in coach next to him, and it was all. It's just like he was posting a picture that was trying to create a
narrative.
a narrative that was false.
Mhm.
And to me, there's a whole industry of entertainment that is based on that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That to me is like really
yeah.
rotten and really unhealthy for everyone. I don't give a shit whether he took a private plane or not. Who cares?
Did he show up on time?
Yeah, did he show up and is he?
How was the gig?
How was the gig? How many people were there? If he went on a tricycle, like that's kind of boss. I'd be like, that was boss showing up on a tricycle. Like,
Shit, Neil Peart used to fucking
That's
ride
right.
his motorcycle to it. He would not get on that tour
he
bus.
got
He
off
would
the tour
drive
bus. Yes, he rode a bike.
a bike.
Yeah, he rode a bicycle the last several
Or a motorcycle or something like that.
Both. He did
that's
both.
the
He
point.
did
That's
both.
the point to me.
Who's the homeboy from Iron Maiden? No, that's the ultimate flex.
Oh, Bruce Dickinson. That
Bruce Dickinson,
he flies the plane.
flies the band. He flew the band, bro.
became a pilot.
He's a pilot, bro.
Wow.
He flies the
Wow.
That's,
747.
that's some whole
internationally.
other shit right there. Like, oh, we got a show in Sweden.
I'll
got
fly.
you, though.
Yeah.
We're gonna get on this G5 and I'm gonna handle my business.
So your elevation is screwed up. And you go up when you go up, and then you come down, so your ears is popped. And you mean to tell me you get off that plane
You go
and you
sing
put them
again.
inners in and you play a show?
He's not singing a minor third
No.
and staying there.
you know-
like, you know what I mean? That dude is like
Every single one of us has been on a
Driven.
stage before where we couldn't hear a single thing and everything worked out fine.
yeah.
Like and these are the things that, like, artists especially, I mean, everyone suffers from imposter syndrome, but especially artists do. And I feel it feels healthy. We're at this moment in time in history where, like, we're all more open about talking about mental well-being and health, self-care, all these things. It's not a taboo subject. We don't all have to pretend we're Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 1980s and Conan. We don't have to pretend. We can just be normal people and share our experiences with each other and say, you know what, I'm having a hard time. And you're like, yeah, you know what, me too.
Yeah.
And then you say like, oh, you know, have you tried this? No, I haven't. I'll try that. To me, that's the point of this, is that as artists, especially as musicians, and every artist community has this, or at least has the opportunity, like, we all have problems that are individual, but have shared versions, you know? So to be able to openly converse about them, I really didn't have that when I was younger. The whole world of classical music is a mirage, and everyone just wants to make sure that everything looks exactly the way it's supposed to. It's just like every other part of social media and entertainment. In some ways, it's even more toxic and worse because the competition is so fierce. I mean, I know this is a brutal fact, but like, as far as musicians go in the world, classical musicians have the highest suicide rate. Damn. By far. Okay. And that's, to me, because the truth is withheld from them and they don't have a shared experience. They don't have professionals mentoring to them in any way that prepares them for the reality of it. And they aren't given the ability to carve a path for themselves that isn't just the beaten down road.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
It's because it's hard. I don't think it's any more complicated than that. It's hard to go out on your own, to like get in your boat and look out at the ocean and go like, nobody's there. I guess I'll go there.
I'm going that way.
Everybody wants to go where you already kind of know what's going to happen.
Like the trend, following that trend. And
yes,
all that.
you want to find a way, like, this is safe. It's just a matter of security.
It's indoctrinated, not just in.
It's in our cells.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
in our cells. And
it's very well.
So like, the very act of being an artist to me is a rebellion against this idea that we've been sold as a society, that there is a secure path. There's a safe way into the future. There's no such thing.
Safe way into the future.
There's no future. There's nothing.
There's right now, and there's the present. And I even, I even have it would get way off fucking topic here, but like but I even have an issue with being called an artist.
Right.
I have an issue with label. Here's the thing. We're human beings. We are human beings that are placed here in this time and space for a particular purpose that's not supported as a realistic fucking purpose.
Oh man, and that really that really digs into something where every one of us feels like this is a natural expression of our humanity. Okay.
Absolutely.
And to me, the establishment music education world, okay, kind of indoctrinates you with like a special thing. You're special. This is other. This is deserving of some kind of lofty. It's not.
Ninth grade.
I hate to tell all the young artists out there, it's not. It's not lofty. It's just us. Okay. You can elevate yourself as high as you want, but that is a decision you make with every single choice, with every single action, right? You want to be a better person. You want to elevate yourself and be a better person. You have to make every single decision with that in mind. But there's nothing particularly spiritual about playing music. There's something very emotional about it. There's something very personal about it. But the honest truth is, we all know there are a ton of kids in their bedrooms right now working on something, trying to figure something out, and every one of them could be better than any of us at any given moment. If they commit themselves, just by waking up in the morning, committing themselves, going for it. And for me, I welcome that. I'm not afraid of anybody competing against me. We need
that, but let's look at just take that to another level just for a hot second. There's so many of these people that are shedding on social media. You get them on stage, they can't play. They can't play.
They can't.
No, they can play, but they can't. Like you said,
right? No, you're right. There was this great. I saw this hilarious.
They don't know how to speak into a mic. You know what I mean? This is a condenser mic.
Oh, they
so
don't.
I might freak out the engineer right now. What if I scream like this? I'm not going to do that, Joe. Take it easy. I'm not going to do that.
We're gonna talk really soft in the mic right now.
I know what it does.
Yeah.
But like,
I know my technique.
But don't you think that's why music matters?
But they don't know.
Don't you think that's, when he asks us this question is, why does this matter? Well,
matters to me.
It matters to me, but like
matters
you said, we all have a different path. You got to create your path, but if you know how to play a musical instrument and you think that you're good enough to create your own path, then you have to find it in yourself, like you said, to create your own. I did it.
Yep.
I did it, and I face adversity. As soon as I stick one foot outside my door, I face it.
Oh, definitely. Because he's a black musician, just like I am, and we ain't got another. That's three other podcasts down the line.
That's at least one more.
No, you know what though?
Because it's true. It's the most segregated city. It's one of the most segregated cities in America. People act like Main Street isn't the Caspian Sea. It is, and that's just a whole other thing. And now you throw pronouns into the mix and shit, and now you can't like. So it's a whole thing, and again, just a quick thing. Like we had one of our students who's pronouns, they them pronouns and non-binary and all that stuff that was really important to them. And Damone said it flat out. Yeah, he was like, now they're gonna hate you even more because not only are you black, now you're doing pronouns. So you've got to climb 3-4 stairs before you start climbing stairs.
Just to get on the stage. Just to get on
the steps.
Right.
Just to get on the steps. Yeah. You got to climb up. But see, that's real. Yeah. Nobody says that to anybody. And this isn't just about music. This isn't just about being an artist, right? This is a life story. Yeah. This is how you grow your life. It's an organic, roots-driven thing. Yeah. We are using music as sort of the medium for this. Yes. But the more and more culture gets sort of thrown into this linear way of being, the worse it's going to be. So that's why it's going to take people like you, people like David, myself, Damone, all these people, and those young people that were playing. Are these young people going to run out here and be virtuosic, like, Pavarottis of their craft? Maybe. Who knows? But if we can get them to look at their lives multidimensionally, because of this experience, that's the fucking point.
Yeah, that's the point,
and that's why that matters. That's why it matters.
That's why.
But that's where we're putting a pin in it, because that I think that is
That's why
what this is about. I appreciate all three of you guys, and we should obviously have to do this again because there's so much to know about each of you. You know.
Well, and look, not for nothing, man. We got a forum, and you have a forum, and you have a voice, and it's high time that we talk about fucking race in this city, and we talk about race for real, not Byron Brown fucking dancing to everybody's organ. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real shit in this city. If we're gonna push culture forward, if we are. And art is the perfect platform to do it. I'm not just saying. I'm not just saying calling you out. I'm just saying like the art is a way. The arts is the way to do that. The artist is music is a way to present it because racism in music, it's a microcosm which makes it worse than just in regular culture. It's real. It's legit. And if Buffalo's going to move forward, and we are going to present a path forward and a road forward for these young kids who have all these ethnicities in them, but as soon as that skin is brown, they're climbing different steps. Yeah. And it's just a reality.
And it's 20 minutes away from where they live.
20 minutes away. We're on Main Street right now. Yeah. It's 45 seconds.
Yeah, true. But what I'm saying is when you go out to those other places such as the Burbs or the Boonies or whatever, like I do it and I don't want to extend our time, but like it's
they cutting all this anyway.
And I hope they don't. And I hope they don't.
No, but we can talk about it another time.
But it's a real thing where somebody like Alex is a great player.
Yeah.
If they want to go out and play in the boonies, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's where the money is.
Yeah,
that's where the money is.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't getting that at Arthur's Pub, and that's not no shade to them. But there's a difference. There's levels to this. Difference. When you go up that ladder,
you spend 45 minutes talking about why it's important to call you by pronouns, then you have to. That's fine.
Well, you got to drive.
But you got to be,
you got to go to those places. You got to deliver. You got to be personable, right. and you got to get that money because you're gonna be making some bank out there. Okay, and what are you gonna do when they call you back? But your audience is different out there,
right?
That's ignored. Nobody talks about that. Let's talk about that. That'll be on the next podcast, I'm assuming. But again, this is a part of that survival I was talking about, and this is why music matters because I'm a firm believer music can take you anywhere in the world. I've been overseas twice. As a black man, there's people in my hood from the east side that they haven't even been to Canada. Okay? They haven't even been to Canada. They haven't been to Canada. And that's not even 30 minutes. Yeah. Let alone being over in South America or in Europe or whatever. And I was grateful for that. That changed my whole perspective on this earth. As a black man in America, music got me there. I didn't sign up a pamphlet on at the mall saying, hey, if you sign this paper, you'll get a free 3-night or a 3-day, 2-night stay on this cruise ship. Nah, music by playing drums got me there. And when I was down there, I learned something. That number one, it is a big road out there. But if you put that much effort and time and dedication to your craft musically on this instrument, you never know where this can take you. You never know. I never knew at 11 years old when I got that $50 that in 21 years later or 25 years later that I would be overseas for the first time. I did not expect that. And this is and again, I was told that music wouldn't even put food on my table. Yeah. And I'm going over on a cruise ship, playing on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Or playing a festival out in South America, Colombia. That's one of the poorest countries in the world. You can't tell me that's a blessing from God. And no, I didn't read music to get there either.
That's right. That's it.
No, I didn't. I worked and I earned that. Okay, and I'm telling you that these kids that are getting ready to play this concert, it can happen to them. And I'm a firm believer that it will.
Yeah.
But you gotta want this. That's why music matters. It's gonna push you just that extra mile past everybody else. That's gonna be like, you know what?
Yeah.
No matter what these people tell you that you can't make it out here in music. You can't make no real money. Fuck you for saying that. Yeah. Because you know what? I got that dog in me. They got that dog in them. They got that dog in them. You got that dog in you. Okay, there's a lot of dogs out here. People love dogs. What type of dog are you?
I'm a
French
pretty
bulldog.
I'm a pretty cat.
What type of
French
dog
bulldog.
are you?
No, stop.
You know, I'm personally a cat person myself, so I think I'm a lion. I feel I want to call myself a lion. But
I'm a cat dog.
What alpha are you? It's in everybody. It's in everybody. It is. It is. I don't care if you're autistic. I don't care if you're handicapped. I don't care. They got something. Everybody got
to
something.
offer.
So
Yeah.
do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Nice.
That's
That's
great
why
way to
music
wrap it up.
matters.
That's
Because it
why
gives
it
you a
matters.
voice other than your own voice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It gives you more confidence than your own confidence. It gives you that extra push. Like it's like God talking to you. That shit is spiritual. That shit is spiritual.
Yep.
And I don't care if you can read a mile a minute. I don't care if you don't never read a lick of music at all. If you have the ability, you have the God-given talent that God gave you to pick up that instrument and change the world, you can save somebody's life. You can stop somebody from killing themselves. That's why this matters.
Yeah.
Man,
This is why
Yeah,
this
please.
matters.
that's a great rap.
That's why
That's
that
it.
matters.
And
You know?
a very
Thank
quick
you,
thing that I
guys.
want to try to do,
Thank
Jeff,
you, guys.
if we
Yeah.
can, just real quick, we're gonna try to do some crazy shit here. It could be this nifty 42 North sponsorship, right? It could be 42 North day
It's
tracker.
very refreshing.
Day tracker, right?
Yeah.
So this is how we're gonna end this, and we're gonna do this in one
These
take.
are our neighbors.
And I hope and maybe you cut it, maybe you don't. I don't know, but we're gonna do this. I'm gonna hit some note that may or may not exist, but who gives a fuck because there's no piano in here. So I'm gonna hit a note. I'm gonna sing
There's a G, man.
mew. I'm gonna say mew. You say zick. You say matters.
Okay.
All right, ready? Mew.
That was pretty good.
There it is. See,
I
that's a
mean,
6. And
This
see,
is what I'm talking about.
This is my pre-cal classical musician. That was a 6/4 E major chord.
It was?
Just so you know, yes.
You was soft
We did
fractions
very
or
well.
calculus in
And
there?
I did a
Can
little
I just buy my
3/4
fucking lettuce
suspension.
without that?
Yeah.
That's the real.
See? See?
Don't have more than one of this beer, okay? 'Cause if you have more than one of these,
Yeah.
you'll be thinking you Celine Dion in here or something. Whitney Houston.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you,
We're out.
Jeff.
Thank you,
I
Jeff.
love you guys.
Brother.
God, I love you.
Excuse the left.